Please rise, followed by the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic. Before we get into anything here, remind everyone, if you speak tonight, please speak up. It is a bigger room so that everyone can hear you. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Byerly.
Here.
Councilmember Conklin.
Here.
Councilmember Missouri. Here. Councilmember Stevenson. Councilmember Brinker.
Here.
Councilmember Morris.
Here.
Mayor Long.
Here. Approval of the minutes of the August 7th meeting. Move approval.
Second.
Motion to floor and a second. Any questions or comments on that? Call for the vote.
Councilmember Byerly.
Yes.
Councilmember Conklin.
Yes.
Councilmember Missouri.
Yes.
Councilmember Stevenson.
Yes.
Councilmember Brinker.
Yes.
Councilmember Morris.
Yes.
Mayor Long.
Yes. Public comments and requests. Any comments from residents or city taxpayers that we're aware of? We didn't have anything good. Okay. 4B, use of Zendel Park.
Natasha Khan is requesting the use of Zindel Park on October 21st, 2024 for a small wedding ceremony. And I'll make sure that she follows all the proper guidelines and get all the paperwork in that she needs to.
Second. Motion floor and a second. Any further questions or comments on the? Call for vote.
Councilmember Byerly.
Yeah.
Councilmember Conklin.
Yes.
Councilmember Missouri.
Yes.
Councilmember Stevenson.
Yes.
Councilmember Brinker.
Yes.
Councilmember Morris.
Yes.
Mayor Long.
Yes. 4C is both something to be proud of and some kind of sad. Consideration of resolution of 2023 at 23. It's a resolution. I'll read that before we consider it. A resolution honoring 48 years of service by Fire Chief Robert Neff. Whereas Fire Chief Robert Neff first joined Hope Hose Company in March of 1975. And whereas Chief Neff spent more than 5 years and 9 months in firefighting service in the Fairfax County, Virginia Fire Department from 1979 to 1985. And whereas Chief Neff began his full-time career with the city of Lock Haven as a fire truck driver with Hand in Hand Hose Company on June 17th, 1985, where he will have worked more than 38 years as of the date of his retirement, with years of service without a single sick day. And whereas Chief Neff has spent more than 9,000 days as Chief, Deputy Chief, or Assistant Chief for the Lock Haven Fire Department. And whereas for more than the last decade, Chief Neff has acted as the administrator of the fire department, overseeing the use of all city-owned equipment, supervising paid drivers, monitoring budgeted expenditures to keep the fire department operating. And whereas council is enabled by the third class city code 11018.1B91 to adopt a resolution as an expression of ceremonial and congratulatory expressions of goodwill. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the City Council of Lock Haven does offer this resolution acknowledging Chief Robert Neff for his more than 48 years as a firefighter, and that the City of Lock Haven is honored that more than 42 of those years have been dedicated to the safety and health of the residents of the city he calls home. Be resolved this 21st day, August 2023. Do I have a motion? Motion of floor and a second. Any further questions, comments? Thank you, Chief. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Call for the vote.
Councilmember Byerly.
Yes.
Councilmember Conklin.
Yes.
Councilmember Missouri.
Yes.
Councilmember Stevenson.
Absolutely, yes.
Councilmember Brinker.
Yes.
Councilmember Morris.
Yes.
Mayor Long.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Well, I guess my favorite thing is I think that everybody was paid to do this. It's been more than fun, and I thought about this the other night, overnight when I was waiting. Somebody else deserves credit that didn't give you the resolution. And she's sitting there because back in 1985, before we got married, I explained to her what this job meant and what this job was going to entail and what was going to happen. And if she couldn't deal with that, we needed to go now, because I was going to do this no matter what anybody said. And as you can see, he's still there and never said a bad word about the fire department whatsoever. Anytime I've left to do anything that involves this at all. And you can pick any thing that you'd like to think about, and I've probably left doing in the middle. So thank you very much, and I appreciate it.
The fire department would like to make a presentation as well.
You know me, I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. Just wanted to present Chief Knapp with a plaque from the fire department for his 48 years of service. Thank you.
Any other public comments, requests?
No, I will just add, you're not retired yet.
So we might be leaving any second. I guess my example of leaving any second is a month or two ago when I was here to brag about our airport. I didn't even get the opportunity to do that. I left in the middle of that. So that's pretty much normal for the life of Bob Neff for the last 38 years. Don't go and fix it.
You made a decision.
Yeah, that's right.
Unfinished business 5A, consideration of the motion to take from the table ordinance number 2023-06. This is the motion that has to do with vacating a portion of Railroad Street.
I move to take the ordinance from the table.
Second. A motion on the floor to take the ordinance from the table. And a second. Any questions, comment? Call for the vote.
Councilmember Byerly.
Yes.
Councilmember Conklin.
No.
Councilmember Missouri. No. Councilmember Stevenson.
Yes.
Councilmember Brinker.
Yes.
Councilmember Morris.
Yes.
Mayor Long.
Yes. So that brings in the second part of that. Consideration of ordinance number 2023-06, vacating portion of Railroad Street.
This is an ordinance that was duly advertised and read at the meeting on July 10th for the first time and adopted, and then was on the agenda for the prior meeting, and that was tabled by council for this meeting. So it is here for.
Do I have a motion?
Hey, very on, I make
You may.
one of the main things to know, one of the things that was brought up the last time was about that this was part of an addition to Lock Haven. And so it would retain its presence as a private street. And that's fully acknowledged. So it would remain open. So there was a concern from Mr. Jacobs, for example, about what would he do if he couldn't go pass through there. But that would still, it would be unaffected. And if the plans that were submitted with the variance request by the property owner that was given, all of that acknowledges the existence of the street and does not impede it in any way. Well, that's an important thing I think for you to know. Now, I know you might have other concerns or other questions, but at least I wanted to be clear about that.
Thank you. You speak up, I can't hear you.
So we had the 2023-06, which was for vacating the portion of Railroad Street. You guys have removed that from the table, I guess now.
We put it back out for consideration, basically, yeah, it was tabled. Now it's
Okay.
back out for consideration.
Okay, all right. Are we discussing that then, or?
Well, I haven't had a motion yet by anyone to move forward with it. If you have something to say, you can say it now, you can wait to see if there's a motion in a second, and then I would open it up for discussion then as well. So,
I mean, I just had a question, by vacating the street, you know, I guess. Mr. Dryer had said that, you know, that they have no intention to close the street, but I guess what is the point of vacating? I guess would be my question. If you have no intention of closing and blocking off the street, what is the positive to vacating the street? I mean, there's tons of people that park on Second Street and they face each way, so they're driving in and out of there. I mean, was there a traffic study done to show how much that is used?
no, there was not.
Okay. I mean, I just, you know, so I made my case in the last meeting, you know, I do get deliveries down at the building, you know, there's only 30 feet of pavement there. There's not a substantial area to turn a truck around, even a pickup truck and trailer. So, I mean, you know, I just think that it would greatly impact the use of my property there. I don't know what happened, or it has to be an established site of the change. Or
Okay, thank you. Mr. Brinker.
So I had the two questions. One, we talked about that Second Street there. We were going to talk about what are we finding out if it was wider or not by this meeting. Did we find out that, because it looks by the aerial views here that the land is definitely encroached on the road. I think that was one of our concerns.
Pardon me, just a moment. Go ahead.
So I believe that was one of our concerns at the end of last meeting, to table it, was to find out if that information has come back to us, not for, that. And my second is the exact same question that you brought up. I'm not exactly sure why you need the road, if they're still going to use the road. My father was in business, and I knew where his business was. I knew where he could park, ATVs. I knew where the road access was out front and all that stuff. So my question is, if it's gonna be a used car lot and you're gonna be not parking on that road, I don't understand why you need the road if we're still going to allow the use of the road. I just don't understand that. I don't understand that. Maybe if you can clarify that, I don't know.
Well, for your question is why make it, I just feel it will give me, flexible. If you look at the plans of what I want to do there, gives me a little bit more room, but I never intended to block it off. Now, I used to rebuttal Mr. Jacobs. I did 3 turnarounds yesterday on that street, which I can provide you people to look at. And it wasn't a problem. He's saying you can't get a truck there, but if you'd like to look at the pictures of what we did. So, in the cars, it's going to be they would be up front towards the forward building.
So, what I could add to that is, so if it becomes essentially a private street for those in the section that was added on, that might reduce the amount of traffic to some degree. And then it would become, you know, his property subject to whoever keeping it open, and that might affect the way certain setbacks or whatever get looked at. But not a big difference.
I may ask, so who then maintains it? Will it become a civil issue between you know, the people that want to drive through there and Mr. McMaster's then, you know, as far as plowing, maintenance down the road, who will then perform the upkeep on the road? If it becomes, and then I guess my other question is, who says he gets the road? Are we selling the road? Is this gonna be an auction? Somebody else wants to buy the road.
It goes to the middle of it goes to the adjoining, vacate. Subject whoever to an obligation, to keep it open, if that was the background.
Right, in answer to your question, when you vacate, the street is not a sellable parcel of land. So it gets vacated and then it goes to the adjoining property owner in equity. So, as a vacated street, the city would not maintain it, and part of the ordinance provides that the storm drain that's there is also something that the property owner of that portion of the vacated section has to take care of from now on. So no, the city will not plow it. And if it needs repaired or paved, the city will not pave it. That would be up to the adjoining property owners to take care of.
So essentially a civil issue down the road.
Do I have a motion?
I move the ordinance as presented.
I have a motion on the floor. Second. Any further discussion?
Before council proceeds, I would caution that section 1B could cause an issue. That was a section that a council member asked to be included. In 11 McClellan Municipal Corporation's third edition, you were cautioned by the city solicitor that the true rule seems to be that a municipality cannot vacate a street or a portion thereof for the sole purpose of benefiting one abutting owner. So the language in B actually says that you want to exclude Norfolk Southern from a portion of that right of way, which I think is what the solicitor is saying should not be done to favor one property owner over the other who has a vacating right in this situation.
I'll amend my second if you amend your motion to exclude that.
Yeah,
Like that.
I would do that.
We have an amended motion.
Well, nobody likes a Barrett Room lawyer. And I would defer to those members of the audience who actually passed the bar and say that it seems to me, my understanding on further reflection is that when the city vacates a property, it really washes its hands of any further power over it. And therefore, it would not be possible under the terms of this ordinance to give any view as to what should happen to it thereafter. In other words, you cannot vacate a property for the specific purpose of clearing the way for some other purpose. All we do is vacate it. And I think Mr. Jacobs may have a point. That if you do that, you do potentially lead to a situation between our citizens that we would be in no position to resolve. And it was a well-crafted ordinance. If we were able to achieve what it wanted to achieve, which was to determine what the future use of that property should be, and more importantly, from the city's point of view, creating a taxable parcel. And I don't believe on further reflection that that ordinance achieves either of those ends. And it seems to me that from that point of view, we would be better just to walk away from it.
Any other comments?
Question for Mr. McMaster or Dwyer. If you only got half of the road, you'll just do business as usual, right? Or will that
You mean,
restrict you
No, it does. I mean, it
To do
would still be,
anything.
to be kept open for benefits of property, including the McMaster.
So I guess there's nothing wrong with asking and us deciding yes or no to vacate. Or, but now split it in half between Northbrook Southern and the LCC. And Richard may be right, that there, what benefit is there to do that? Other than we don't have to maintain it, we don't have to pave it, we don't have to take care of the drainage. It would be less maintenance on us. That would be our only benefit of giving half the road to the LCC. So that's just my thought process. I'm still spinning it around a little bit, but I'm not sure if we're accomplishing anything at all here, but
Any other comments, questions? Yes, sir, one more time.
So I'll leave it like this, I guess, so we're considering vacating the street to benefit one property owner. And that wants to have a business that does not even conform to that business district.
Well, if we're doing it, it's being split, it's not necessarily one property owner, but the other property owner hasn't come to us and asked for it.
The other thing is, it did state the benefit to the city of saving expenditures and.
There would be the benefit to the city that we wouldn't have to maintain it anymore.
Does the railroad even want the road?
That's the
I
question.
mean, if we give them the road, they might not say, we don't want the road. And then we're back to where? How do we resolve that? Don't we think we have to ask both parties before we make a motion or a resolution here?
By default, it goes to them. They don't have to consent to it.
The difference would
They don't have to
be, you know,
keep it up.
they're responsible for half of it, they
I mean,
wouldn't do anything with that.
Right.
They don't do anything with it now.
they don't keep their own properties now.
Right. So that
Doesn't really
half,
change anything.
if that half could just,
Really
That has to
cared.
be operation of law. I mean, I agree with Mr. Morris that, you know, even saying what the intention is, it's not meaningful, it doesn't really do anything because it, you know, you have the power to do it. And as far as what happens afterwards, that'll be what the law says it goes.
Okay, I think we discussed it. We'll call the vote.
Councilmember Byerly.
Yeah.
Councilmember Conklin.
No,
Councilmember Missouri. No. Councilmember Stevenson.
no,
Councilmember Brinker.
No.
Councilmember Moore.
No.
Mayor Long.
No. Five B. Consideration of motion of taking the table ordinance number 2023-07. City authority ordinance. Motion to that effect or? Well, you're in.
Question, so what happens if we don't have a motion to remove it from the table?
Stays on the table.
you brought up any.
We can be brought it up at a future meeting, yeah, right?
Yeah. Am I correct with that?
Yes, you'd have to make a motion at a future meeting under other matters to have it brought back before you.
Second question, so has the committee for the water authority set a new meeting with the city authority to gather and stuff?
Yes.
Okay.
So I don't have a motion. I lack of a motion. Stay on the table. Five C, second reading of ordinance number 2023-08, amending chapter 328 sewer and sewerage disposal.
That ordinance has been rescheduled for the regular meeting on September 11th. And that'll be the second reading of that ordinance. It would go into effect 20 days after September 11th if adopted by council.
Thank you. Five D, consideration of ordinance number 2023-09, second reading.
I will clarify that this is actually ordinance number 2023-06. Well, not necessarily.
Oh,
The other two didn't carry. So this is 2023-06 is amending certain sections of chapter 380 of the City of Lock Haven Code, which is vehicles and traffic. It does remove the blinking light from the corner of Jones and East Bald Eagle. It also sets a citywide speed limit of 25 miles per hour, except on streets that are specifically called out, which there are several. And then it also adds a parking prohibition on Northampton Street, where a new driveway has been installed.
do I have a motion on this?
Move second reading.
I have a motion for it.
Second.
And a second from one of the two over here. Any further discussion? All for the vote.
Councilmember Byerly.
Yes.
Councilmember Conklin.
Yes.
Councilmember Missouri.
Yes.
Councilmember Stevenson.
Yes.
Councilmember Brinker.
Yes.
Councilmember Morris.
Yes.
Mayor Long.
Yes. 5E, consideration of the agreement with Prucar form of feasibility study.
The last meeting, Mr. Morris asked if I would look into some properties. With the architect, one of those properties. I asked the architect, well, it went down to one property, I should say. And I asked the architect from Booth Park Horn for a feasibility study for that property, which would be $6,600. And if council is interested in having that study performed, you would just need to make that motion this evening and we could enter into that agreement.
What's the wish of council? You have what?
Would, and if anything happened there with that grant, still be eligible for down there? If not,
Now, the $1 million is for new construction.
new construction. Would we consider just tearing it down and building new? And what does he ask for? He can't, right, he can't, for a
I don't know the answer to any of those questions.
Okay, well, that made up my mind how we're gonna vote.
It's all about the dinero.
They went like 289.
Yeah, asking questions, good, 100, 300.
Yeah.
A third of what would go into a new building.
And my comment is we,
Clear down there, not centralized.
we spend a lot of time discussing this. For me, this is a step backwards. This is not money well spent. I would not be in favor.
Do I have a motion?
I move entering into the agreement.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? Yes, it dies. Do I have a second?
I wonder if I just might make a comment before we move on, which would be to remind council that we currently are working on a new police building for $2 million, which contains 6,000 square feet gross, 5,500 net. To answer a need that was identified in the feasibility study for $8,400 for the police department. At the same time, if we move the police out of the current building, we still have not any sensible plan for what to do with the remaining administrative staff. The only proposal that has been kicked around is to develop the space under the Ross Library, which contains something like 3,000 square feet. We go back to the feasibility study, the identified requirement for the administrative services and public access was 8,200 square feet. So either we have lost faith in the feasibility study, or we are embarked on a course of action that goes nowhere close to satisfying the space requirements for both the police department and the remaining services. And whilst I am not at all certain that 509 East Main Street wouldn't meet the need for the police department, I think we kind of locked into that. Whether it would meet the need for remaining services, I don't know, but it seemed to me that for $6,600, it was worth finding out. How does that price compare with what they charged us to look at the fire halls?
I don't know off the top of my head. But I think I had shared in an email how much we had spent to date to everyone. For the feasibility study and also the fire halls.
Anyway, the motion has died, but I think it is worth keeping those thoughts in mind. We're in danger of confusing activity with progress, it seems to me. You seem to be intent on looking busy about doing something without any real consideration of the quality of the something that we want to do.
Thank you.
Neither plan would come to fruition while I remained on council, so I will take no further part in the discussion.
5D. That, 5F. Info on the LHCA. The city authority.
This is for council's information that the Lock Haven City Authority does or was in the process of agreeing to do a study in partnership with the Bureau of Forestry and DCNR for trail study in the Zindel Park area. And that at least the other day, they intended to go forward with that study. And so that the city solicitor asked the council just have that on their agenda so that they're aware of that. And if you have any questions about that, I'd be happy to email them to the city authority.
Thank you. Any other unfinished business?
None, Your Honor.
Okay, new business, 6A, appointment of Chief Jake Neff.
Actually, still Captain, sorry, Neff. Sorry, I don't want to make you feel like you're being thrown out. But there's a vacancy that will be caused by a retirement on the safety committee. And so we put before you Captain Neff to fill that vacancy.
The motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Call for the vote.
Councilmember Byerly.
Yes.
Councilmember Conklin.
Yes.
Councilmember Missouri.
Yes.
Councilmember Stevenson.
Yes.
Councilmember Brinker.
Yes.
Councilmember Morris.
Yes.
Mayor Long.
Yes. 6B, appointment of Wendy Spiker as delegate to the Clinton County Tax Collection Committee.
Wendy Spiker, who is the executive secretary and oversees the Department of Finance on my behalf, is, to her surprise, learned today that she's being nominated by the city to be on the tax collection committee. And Erin Ria, who is the new finance clerk, would be the alternate.
Do I have a motion?
Second.
Motion floor and a second. Any further discussion on the motion?
You can label on me, available.
I will.
Didn't he volunteer for several other things in that way? Call for the vote.
Councilmember Byerly.
Yes.
Councilmember Conklin.
Yes.
Councilmember Missouri.
Yes.
Councilmember Stevenson.
Yes.
Councilmember Brinker.
Yes.
Councilmember Morris.
Yes.
Mayor Long.
Yes. 6C, receive the second quarter Comcast franchise fee.
This is just so that the minutes reflect that the second quarter franchise fee from Comcast to the city of Lock Haven is $26,009.52.
Thank you. Any other new business?
I have none, Your Honor.
Yeah, several reports, whole phase one update.
All is still moving along. they're waiting for DEP dam safety to give a weigh-in on a particular cost. And there's other information for your perusal, and the next economic partnership time out is at Light My Fire Heart in Dunntown, Woods Avenue.
Does anyone have anything else to report, council? Yeah.
Just want to let the public know, and you guys know that the skate park demo is due to start on August 28th, and with completion of the project by the end of the year. So we thank everyone for their patience with this project, but we're moving along really nicely now, so.
Now, when you say the project, please give a year, you're talking about the skate park.
Yeah,
That's the only demolition, the other,
right,
there's
yeah, you're doing that,
there's no other demolition.
yeah, just the skate park.
Okay.
Thank you, thank you. Judy. Anything else, from council? Does anyone else have anything to bring before council tonight? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
You do.
We are adjourned. Thank you. Thank everyone for putting up with the. Good work, we like to be.
Yeah. She only fans go to.